Recording in progress.
He probably doesn't even
Okay.
know.
Let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We are having a study session today on our 3 additional ordinance officers. This meeting was called on by Councilman Wenzel. And so I asked Councilman Wenzel to come prepared today. And I know he did. I've called him a couple of times. He has some great information for us. I am going to give the mic straight over to Councilman Wenzel. He'll then tell us what his expectations are. I'll hear from the rest of the council. We do have our director of ordinance with us and our ordinance officer, Kevin Abbey, here with us, who also does a great job. So thank you to them. Councilman Wenzel, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you, Council Chair. First of all, this isn't really a study session because if it were a study session, we would require a couple hours. That's why I only asked the Council Chair for a half hour, because this is more of an update.
Okay.
Some information on what we're looking at right now, what we've got. Ask the residents, fellow council members, city employees to get a hold of us and say, what do they want? What would they like to see happen or change or stay the same? So with that being said, this is an update session. And thank you, Director Distring, for coming. Officer Abbott here and everyone else that's here. One of the things that I was concerned with was the delay in getting these officers. And I'm using the word officers a little bit loosely. And because I didn't know up until today that we were actually in the process of hiring a specific person. That's one of 3 that was okayed by. So that's a good start. And one of the things that I wanted to do was have an ordinance officer in the building department help with certificates of occupancies. And from my understanding, that is about to happen or is happening as we speak. And that's a good thing because we can, we have houses out there, commercial properties that don't have C of Os. And, we can make extra money for that. And another thing is if we put an ordinance officer in the building department, it's my idea to have them be strictly doing C of Os, maybe looking up different things, keep them out of the day-to-day ordinance, like dog, animal control and grass and all that stuff. Have this person be specifically for the building department. And one thing you can do is check C of Os. And one other thing they can check is a thing called the PRE. And that's a primary resident exemption. And what that is, if you own a home, you get a break on your taxes. And if you live in that home. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of rental houses out there where the person, I'm assuming this, owns the home, rents it out, but they may be going for the primary residence exemption. So I think that's something that this ordinance officer that works in the building department could look into too. And this one officer in the building department that goes there, that's going to be a full-time job for this person. And we need to get a list of our rental properties. I don't know if the city has an actual list of rental properties. And we could have something like a residence report to the city. I think my neighbor, this is a rental property. Just make sure it's on the list. And what we think we have to do is educate our residents on the ordinances and, what the penalties are, what's expected from the residents, what's expected from the business owners. And speaking of businesses, and I don't want to dwell on rental properties, but as council members, we get calls constantly about situations about houses and businesses. And most of them are rental properties, and that's a fact. I don't want to dwell on that point at all. But a rental property, it's not a home where the owner lives. It's a business. There's a person that owns it that's renting it out to make a profit. So we should look at that a little bit differently. I don't know. I mean, for our businesses, we have ordinances on facade, all kinds of different ordinances that regulate businesses that we don't do to residential properties. That's something we can look into. And, Airbnbs is another thing. And the city council needs to be informed more about what's going on, because I didn't know until today that we're hiring an officer right now. I didn't know today that an officer may be going into the building department real soon. And we have one officer maybe being hired, and I hope we get the other two officers. If we get two more officers, I'd like to see at least one more officer designated to the south end specifically. There's, the area from Southfield to Telegraph. We've got one officer that's paid for Tifa through Tifa in the Tifa area that's west of Telegraph. We need to find out these rental properties, who the owners are. If we're gonna put a fine on somebody for a specific violation, sometimes we don't know who the owner is. It's a company out of Arizona or it's out of state. And I think by ordinance, they have to have a representative of them within like a 20 minutes from the property that they own. I'm something like that. But we got to be more strict with our code enforcement, our ordinance enforcements. Even, people that own their homes. I know, there's people on my block, homeowners, and they break the ordinances all the time. I got a pamphlet. I took a bunch of pamphlets from the front here a couple weeks ago, ordinance pamphlets. And I drive around and I stop at people's houses and I see, their grass is tall, their garbage cans are still out, or they're out too early, or they're putting trash out. I find it in the packet, I put a big circle around it and I stick it in their mailbox for them. And so, this is the opportunity now we have. We've been wanting more ordinance enforcement for a long time. And the ordinance department is doing a great job for what they've got. And I know they could use more help than 3. And let's hope we get 3. Right now, I hope we're getting 1. And that's why I wanted to have this short so we can get our regular meeting started on time. And I want people, if anybody's got any comments, but people to get a hold of us and say, hey, Denise, or hey, Mo, or hey, Nancy, I would like to see this in the ordinance office, or I like this, let's keep this up. I think they're doing a great job at this. And we just need to get everyone involved, everybody work together, because everybody knows a blight. Everybody drives around the city every day. You don't go on one trip from your house where you don't see a bad situation. I don't care where you live, north or south. You're going to see something that is ugly, and it's a residence or a business. So, let's work together. Let's be proud of our city. Let's work together. City council, administration, our ordinance department, they're doing a great job. Let's get these new people in there. Let's have a study session, have everyone's input. And I'm sure they've got an idea what they want to do with these officers. But, it'd be nice if everyone was informed instead of finding out through the grapevine things that are happening. We're council members, but you deserve just as much right to know what's going on as we do. And I think it's unfair that we're not getting the updated information. So, but that's what I want to say. I want to plan a full blown study session and invite everyone ahead of time so everyone knows. And I welcome, and we all welcome anyone's input on this. And we're open for comments or anything right now. Anybody wants to say anything?
Council Chair.
Councilman Mark.
Thank you, Council Chair. I want to thank Council Winslow for bringing this forward. I think the administration did mention before that they're going to have somebody at the building department. I think that they did mention a couple of times. Regarding Airbnbs, I think it's a big subject, and I think the planning commission, not sure if they had the meeting or they're supposed to, this Thursday.
It's this.
They're having the meeting about it just to set the rules and regulation about how to control Airbnbs, which is, I think we need it, because still in the state level, there was a House bill that was proposed and still hasn't been agreed on. So far, they're still leaving the decision to be made by municipalities. So I do think as a city, we need to jump on this, and I'm glad that they're having a meeting about it this Thursday. So they can set some rules and regulation about Airbnbs. I do understand a lot of people probably in our city doesn't like it. Some people up north, they live on the Airbnbs. So that's like a big business for them. They want it in their cities. But I understand some cities they don't care for it. But again, thank you for bringing this forward.
Mhm.
I think it's a great thing and, hopefully we can all work together to achieve, the ultimate goal. To move the city forward, Councilman Wilson.
Yes, yes.
Council Chair.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilman Ahmad. I'm gonna go with Councilwoman Breyer first.
Yeah, Tom, when you say South End, you're excluding Telegraph to Inkster Road.
I did say that.
No, you
Said
said
west of
Southfield to Telegraph.
Then I said west of Telegraph.
Okay, I want
Tifa
to, and
area.
we also go north. People think it's Michigan Avenue, but really it's Cherry Hill.
That's the Tifa area. I mentioned Tifa.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
And the other thing, the things you're putting in the mailboxes, do they have stamps on them?
No.
Then they're illegal. You
Oh, I
gotta
mean, I put them in the
doors
door.
Or something else. Yeah, be careful with
Put
that.
them in the door. That's what I.
Okay.
I think even if you had a stamp, it would still be illegal, but.
Council Chair.
Hang on one second, Roger. I just want to say a quick thing. I agree. I agree with you, Councilman, wholeheartedly. We do need more, ordinance officers. I think one is not enough. We budgeted for 3. We passed a resolution for 3.
Mhm.
Give us the damn 3 ordinance officers, not 1. That's number 1. Number 2, I wholeheartedly believe you cannot designate an ordinance officer just to the south end and then say, but
Right.
I'm not gonna have anything in the north end because like we need to stop dividing our community up. I do, and I understand and I comprehend that there is a south and there is a north, right? And that's real because there's 48125 and there's 48127. But what I will wholeheartedly tell you is that we can break things down into districts. And we can say that this ordinance officer is gonna be in charge of this
Mhm.
district so that and I believe they already do that currently.
To an extent.
But I want us to kind of drift away from saying things like, well, I want something in the south end. Imagine like I stood up here and I said, I want something in the north end. It's unfair to the residents that voted for you in the north end and for me to say something like that for those who supported me in the south end. This is the city of Dearborn Heights. We can break things up into different districts. And I only say this, Councilman, just for the correction of, I know your intentions are great. And I know that I think what's really happening is we're seeing a lot more renters in the south end than you're seeing in the north end. And so you are seeing there is a drastic amount of new renters on the south end than there are on the north end. And so so what you're seeing is these people that are living in these houses, they're there for a short period of time and they're either leaving or they're taking out all their stuff and they're throwing them right out onto the roads or onto the street. I've seen photos where I saw like a house covered with all so much blood. I think I reached out to the ordinance director. There's maybe 25 tires on the front lawn.
Oh, boy.
25 tires. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I don't know, Bill, if you remember that.
Absolutely, I do.
It was 25
I
tires.
was on vacation when that occurred.
And I called and I had to call them because the resident sent me a photo and I was blown away. And so then when I called, it turned out that the person worked at a tire shop. They needed somewhere to dispose of tires. They knew they were leaving at this rental property and they disposed all their tires on this property and they drove off.
Well, is it?
So, and let me tell you something, there's zero room for disrespecting this community, like zero room. I want you to know that and so aside from having these 3 ordinance officers, I think we also need to start increasing our ticket pricing and how we're going to start ticketing these people. Nothing from the audience, please, sir. But I will say,
Point of order.
please, Mr. Owen. I will tell you that just the other day, I did almost a 2-hour bike ride, 8 miles to the north end with a resident who told me, Mo, I want you to come with me and I want to show you the blight. And as we were making our bike, we rode from Hess to Warren down to like Riverside neighborhoods, and we ended up on Telegraph. I mean, and this older 60-year-old woman had this 34-year-old, like I couldn't breathe, and she was just kind of going through it. But we saw businesses, we saw homes, we saw things that I cannot explain to you that unless you look, you're not going to see it. And I was truly so disappointed. And this was completely the north end. I was completely disappointed. And majority of these homes were homeowners. They weren't renters. These were people that live, pay their taxes. This is their house. Their kids go to school. They bought this house on either a mortgage or have it paid off. And they had the audacity to walk out of their house and we see 6 foot, 6 foot, weeds in their backyard and behind their garage. It's disgusting. And that's when then you start complaining, why are the rodents? And it's not fair to this community. It's not fair to your neighbors. And so really, these 3 ordinance officers that we requested for should have been hired in May and should have been tackling these issues throughout the entire summer. Because when a snowfall comes or when it starts getting cold and everything dies, you don't really see much of the blight. It's just unfair. You'll start seeing some of like the debris that's on the grass or the stuff, the garbage that's on their lawn, but you're not seeing the actual weeds and the tall grass and things like that. And I know the ordinance officers are doing a phenomenal job. You know, there's only so much 3 officers or 4 officers can do.
All
3
right,
officers
Council
on a
Chair.
hard time.
Okay,
No,
I'm running.
Council Chair. If I may.
No, I'm just kidding. I want to start, at 6.
Yeah, we
But,
will.
just 2 things real quick. The only reason I said,
I'm gonna let Roger
Chair,
go
oh, wait,
first.
let me just,
Let me just have
let me just
Roger.
finish just one little part.
Okay.
The only reason I said another one at the south end is because from Southfield to Telegraph is the largest area in Dearborn Heights for one officer to patrol. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge area for one person. And I don't want to make this look like it's a rental problem, issue. Because I've got 2 renters on my block that take care of their property better than anyone else on the block. So this is not a renter issue, and I don't want to, outprice renters because.
No, we're not talking about
No,
renters.
no.
We're a welcoming community.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. We don't care who they are.
But regardless of what's
It's the
happening,
owners of the property
Yeah.
we go after, not the people that live there. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry.
it's okay. Go ahead, Roger.
Thank you, Council Chair. Just as a clarification, the short-term rental it's an ordinance, proposed ordinance that's before the planning commission with rules and regulations for them to vote on before it comes to you. So we'll have an ordinance to deal with Airbnbs. It's already
Remember that
been
meeting.
reviewed by
Thursday.
buildings. So once if it's voted on and approved, whatever changes, then it's gonna come to you as a proposed ordinance.
What time is that meeting on Thursday?
I think it's 6, whatever time they usually, I think it's 6. I'll double check.
The planning commission?
Yes, planning commission, yes. And then I would add that the issue with those tires was a vindictive act by the renter against the owner, putting them deliberately on that property. So it was more even a criminal violation with that. It wasn't just somebody moving out, leaving tires. It was malicious and purposeful. The issue of blight, I have gone through and Mr. DeShroon met with Dearborn as the best one. We looked at Allen Park and a few others. We've put a proposal together. Mr. DeShroon and I are finishing that will show you the changes that we're proposing from the current ordinance we have to what we want to add. Is significant changes and differences. That's you will see the changes before and after, so to speak, and what we want to add to make sure you have a blight ordinance that you can vote on that's in a format that addresses your issues and what Mr. Councilman has brought up before. The issue of the meeting tomorrow night, with I mentioned to you before, the concept of living cities. It's in 10 United States cities, supported by the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, a number of big philanthropic organizations. It gives money, $50,000 per person to change from a renter to a homeowner. It also gives $100,000 for small businesses. In other words, and money for people to rehab their houses. So if we can get them here, they're looking, I believe, at Detroit. We wanted them to look at our area, especially the Van Buren area, where we can help people become homeowners. Our wealth, 61% of Americans' wealth is from the home that they own. So this is a possibility to deal with what Mr. Wenzel has correctly brought up, that we want to franchise people. And yeah, homeowners will have their homes, but we want to have an opportunity and a business opportunity to franchise people and give them stability and give them ownership in the city. I don't agree, though, that rental homes is just a business to make a profit. Rental homes are people's lives, and people live in those homes and they have kids in schools here. They're invested in here. They just don't have the money, many of them, to buy their own home as a down payment. So this is a step, and I'm saying it's not me. It would be a step as our city, our city council and our administration working together to franchise homeowners. Anyway, so I think with the blight ordinance, the short-term rental ordinance, I think we have some start to really change some of the circumstances that Mr. Wenzel has brought up.
What time?
The meeting tomorrow night, it's at 8:00, but that's
Thursday, isn't it?
6 o'clock Thursday. Yeah,
Thursday, not Wednesday.
planning commission.
Okay,
No, that's the separate meeting I have with Liverpool.
are we done?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we're gonna hear from our honorable ordinance director, Mr. Bill Dishroom.
Thank you, Council Chair. I won't get too deep into the woods here. I think Councilman Wenzel covered a lot of the things we spoke earlier today. The ordinance officer being hired occurred this week. There was an offer submitted. I had HR submit the offer of employment to one of the officers. And then the other thing is one of our officers actually moved this week into the building department to work more directly with them, with building inspector for inspections and stuff like that. Like I said, I spoke with Councilman Wenzel about that already. So one of the things I wanted to mention, it's great that we're going to get I want to hire all 3 ordinance officers. Some of the things that are GL items in there that were not funded, like I don't have space for 3 officers in my office. The reason we moved out of City Hall was because we were out of space. Now I moved into a space that was perfect for the number that I had. Now we're trying to increase that. I'll figure it out. I don't know what it's going to cost. I haven't looked into that yet. I'm working with Mr. Cooper, Director Cooper, for because we need laptops. We need phones. There's a lot of things that come with adding these positions, and I might need one more car. I'll have to double check on that. But these are things that you funded the salaries, but not the other components of it. So, and it is what it is. We'll figure it out, right? We can always do an amendment if we have to, right?
I believe we put in there the salary, the longevity, and then I believe Mariana also told us an additional $5,000 for like equipment and phones and things of that nature, so.
That's and salaries or
I believe so.
so we can move it if we have to into the line item that's necessary. Okay, fair enough. Another issue that came up recently that's not necessarily on your radar yet. We're still working on that. They just reached out to us as our agreement with Michigan Humane. Again, another thing I'm not going to get too deep into the woods on, but that's something that's one of my budget items. We're working on that. Roger and I are going to meet again next week, Michigan Humane. The last thing I wanted to touch on is the nuisance ordinance that Roger mentioned from Dearborn. It's fire. I'm going to tell you right now, and I believe Councilman Saab had mentioned before about a property of his being cut. The grass was cut like in 3 days. Their ordinance has anywhere from 3 to 10 days, and they literally cover everything that's covered in the ordinance. They don't have to get court orders to go onto people's property. That's how we have to do it now. That the way that ordinance is written, they're allowed to do what they have to do on a property after the owner is notified a violation. They've been posted and they were sent a letter. They go out within 10 days and clean it up. So it's significant. It's a game changer. I don't know. The other thing too is if it's actually approved, you have to consider the backlash. If you guys approve it, the ordinance, once it's written, you might get some blowback from people who aren't happy with it, because it's definitely different than the whole process we go through right now to go onto somebody's property and clean it up. But it's crazy. They don't mess around. It's pretty intense, quite honestly. So
Question,
sure.
how many people have applied for our ordinance department?
How many?
How many people have applied for the position? The 3.
I have a current list that I'm working off of right now.
I've had a couple of people reach out to me like, "Hey, I've applied. They have applied."
Yeah.
And I said to them,
Yeah.
probably the one person you don't want to tell because.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Honestly, that's an HR question if they have the application, and I don't, it's not sent directly to
A
me.
bunch of people are
'Cause we-
applying. Why are we only hiring one when we're requesting 3?
Well, I've got the list. Again, logistics, I have to feather these people in, and I have to try to make space. I have to get computers and the phones, and my office is limited in space. So I'm going to have people are going to be double stacked if I hire 3 people at one time.
The good news is we have so much room inside the Justice Center. We don't expect these people to be inside the office. We expect them to be out on the roads and issuing, citations.
Right. And again, yes, that is correct, but they do have to have a space to make callbacks. They have to have a space to, synchronize their tablets when they come back. And then the tablets that I have actually right now have been in service. They sat for some unknown reason. And when I got in this position, I deployed them immediately. They've been around for probably 4.5 years. So a lot of them are cycling towards their end of life. So, I did get approval from
Director,
Hold on.
I'm just gonna interrupt. No, wait, about the tablet, so we don't forget. Please, as a request to Cooper, when you ask for new tablets, Most council I want them to have internet access on the tablets, not a hot Wi-Fi or hotspot. So that way they can be on the field to look up stuff. They don't have to come back to waste time.
We can,
Because you gotta go log through your phone to get the hotspot for them now, correct?
correct.
So they can get cell service directly into those tablets.
Okay, then when they're in the field, if they sync in the morning, they have the most recent information when they leave the office. I don't know if you're trying to,
Because we're supposed to link the building department for you guys to know if there's permits being pulled or everything access to, but a lot of your officers say that their tablets aren't synced when they're out in the field. And actually, it's a distraction for them to always have to connect to a device. It should be available directly to the cell service.
that's an added cost. That's something that we can look
That's
into.
it.
We tried that originally and there were some issues, with BSA. The problem that we were having is they were going through their phone, using it as a hotspot, and the internet, the speed is not fast enough to connect. So that's obviously, that was a point
Council
of
Chair,
frustration.
so you should be able to integrate where the actual tablet, right now, like my son's tablet can go up north. Because I pay the $5 a month through Verizon, he can use his iPad anywhere.
Council
So
Chair.
imagine being able to, hang on one second.
No,
Councilman.
Okay.
So imagine being able to sync something, put it in on the spot, it being updated. Now everybody can see it because you have the internet capability.
Okay.
Instead of having to finish the day, drive back, do it in the morning and not knowing if
Okay.
somebody else already went out there.
All right, I'd like to call this the update session to an end so we can get our regular meeting started on time. We'll be planning a study session with your blessings.
Councilman, thank you, but I'll be the one to make that one.
No, I said it with your blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the director finish before we make that. I mean, we've started meetings with 4 or 5 minutes late. You'll be all right, Councilman. Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Council Chair. The only thing I wanted to go back to is, with respect to, being live in the field on the tablet, laptop, Surface Pro, whatever you want to call it. You have to have a VPN and you have to be connected to the server. So there's, security and speed issues. I'm sure it's not something we can't overcome. So thank you for bringing that up, Councilman.
Any other council members? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Director Dishroom.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna take it out to the public. Comments on, the Councilman Wenzel's 3 positions, for the ordinance department. Any comments? Are you using your additional 2 minutes here?
No, I'm not using my addition. This is only for, I didn't tell you about study session, did I?
Yeah,
I didn't even know I was coming here.
yeah, 3 minutes. Please state your name, the city you reside in, the street that you live on, sir.
I resided at P.O. Box. My name is Hassan Ayun. Mr. Chair, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. When's the last time the ordinance went out and checked the grass?
I'm not the ordinance director.
You can ask that question.
What grass?
Every
The
day,
grass,
every day.
Every single day, I'm sure.
every single day. So by himself, he can do the whole city?
Who?
Anybody? There's one, how many people is there? There's 4 right now?
5.
3, there's 4 or 3 and 2 part-timers, right?
No, 5 and 1 part-timer. 5 officers, 1 part-timer.
Okay, 5,
So there's 5 people. And you guys want to hire an additional 3?
yes.
Why do you want to hire an additional 3? I don't understand.
No,
Are you guys not issuing too many tickets?
We don't have enough manpower to issue enough tickets. To keep the city clean.
Okay, how many minutes does it take to issue 1 ticket?
I'm
just asking.
I'm
Say
sure,
8 hours, say every ticket issued is 10, 15 minutes. And they give them a warning 24 hours, 48 hours to clean up, right? And they come back and then 48 hours and they come see if they cleaned it, right? Am I correct? I'm just asking questions. It's just.
you're not spending 10 minutes an
How
hour
do we know that there's no manpower?
because we see the blade all over the city.
Okay, what about if people are not doing their jobs? Did you ever know that? Have you investigated? Did you see if people are doing their job? Did you see
Believe it
people
or not,
working
they do, I believe they are doing their job and they do a great job. The chief, I
Okay.
don't believe that they have enough manpower, Mr. Owen.
So then, so you're gonna tell me three people, if we bring every day, how many tickets are you writing right now?
I'm not sure. I believe the last time I saw, we were up almost 31%
How
than
many
last year.
tickets? How many tickets are you writing?
We're about 31% more than what we did last year.
So that means you guys are doing a better job than last year, because last year probably, you know,
Jerome, your
you're
time
telling me
is,
31% more tickets than last year.
yes.
So if you get three more, I want it to be, you're gonna have 80%.
Or
That's the
maybe
plan.
another 30%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Or maybe there are more people that are having more blight, therefore writing more tickets, and that's why we're up 31%. We don't know what the answer to that is.
Don't figure out the answer and then figure out the jobs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, we'll take a quick 2-minute recess and we'll start our regular meeting.
How's Ali doing?
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today for the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council. Is called to order today at 6:08 PM. Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Hassan Ahmad,
Present.
Moby Dun,
Present.
Nancy Breyer. Here. Robert Constant,
Present.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell. Here. Hassan Saab,
Present.
Tom Wenzel. Here. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Today I'm going to have Mr. Oon lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Oon. You may be seated. Next up, we have the agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Saab.
move that Dearborn Heights Council approve the agenda for the regular meeting of September 10th, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next up, we have the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of August 27th,
Council Chair.
2024. Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes for the regular meeting of August 27, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion? Council members, I ask that you guys all engage when it comes to reading these or seconding them. I'd like to start seeing some new voices. That's all. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next up, we have
I thought we were gonna do something. I thought we were gonna do a recognition, but I guess we're not.
He's not here yet.
they had to hold it off to the following week.
Well, I had just make a little announcement.
Can you save your announcement, sir, to the?
No, it's a moment of silence. There's Priority Waste, they have their municipal representative for the city of Dearborn Heights, Paul Ruthenberg, who recently lost a grandchild at birth, and I'm asking for 10 seconds of silence, please. Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. And Paul's, believe it or not, one of the best people that I've ever worked with. And I'm so sorry for the loss of his grandchild at birth. He really is a phenomenal man. You call that guy at any time of the day,
Yeah.
midnight, 2 a.m. I mean, not that I've ever called him at 2 a.m. Paul, he answers and he never says no. Thank you, Paul. I'm sorry for the loss.
Same here.
Same.
Next up, we have public hearings and comments on agenda items only. This is on agenda items only. Mr. Owen, are you asking for the 2 additional minutes?
Yes.
Give him 4 minutes here. What is it? Huh?
They want to see the agenda. Hello,
Oh, let me go.
it's working. Don't start my time, man, please. I gotta see the agenda. They're right. Hold on, don't start my time. I'll tell you when to start it.
He's talking, start his time.
Good afternoon, Hassan Ayun. P.O. Box 1132, Dearborn, Michigan 48121. I'd like to ask a couple of questions to Mr. Saab, Chair.
Go through the chair, though, please.
I'm talking to you, Mr. Chair. I said, Mr. Chair, did I say Mr. Saab? Can you ask Mr. Saab if Attorney Matt Schenk represented him before or did anything for him, or he paid any services to Matt Schenk?
Yes.
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, there's items regarding Matt Schenk. Didn't you guys, when Dave Abdullah was here, you guys said that we're not going to use him no more? Am I correct? If you recall, Mr. Chair?
Correct.
Yes? No?
Yeah, we did.
You did. Now, did the mayor get recalled? Yes or no?
He did not get recalled. There was a recall against him.
Was there a recall against him?
There was a recall, yes, against him.
Did he use Matt Schenk? Answer my question. Yes.
Me? I have no clue.
He did. You guys know he did. But
Yeah.
listen. I got a question for Roger.
To the chair.
Ask Roger, what was the opinion for? What was the opinion that he got from Matt Schenk? What was it regarding? Was it regarding any litigation? Yes or no? I just want a yes or no answer.
I don't answer yes or no to anyone if you ask me that way. If your question is vague, I don't understand it, and it's not clear, and I'm talking, so please don't interrupt me. I don't understand what you're asking. If you're attacking one of the attorneys, why don't you just put it in writing as an email and I'll respond to you.
I'm gonna ask the question one more time. What was the opinion letter that you got from Matt Schenk?
Council Chair, just for the
1
record.
second, Councilman.
Is he talking to me about
No,
my
he's talking to,
No, because he referred to.
No, no,
Okay. No.
what, do you have an opinion letter from Matt Schenk?
I don't have, well, not an opinion letter. I don't know what he's talking about.
You got, why'd you use Matt Schenk for?
What do you use a Matt Schenk for?
I've used, Attorney James Allen, who works with I guess Matt Schenk. I don't think I've ever met Matt Schenk.
I don't think I have either.
What Attorney
let me-
Allen, I'm talking, so please don't interrupt. You asked me a question. Now, what I'm explaining to you is that they've worked with us with the Warren Golf Course and they've worked with our liquor license commission. That's what the bills say. That's all I can answer you. I don't know what opinion you're talking about.
Hold on, let me scratch my head for a minute.
Yeah.
I got one question. So we're still working with the golf course? These are golf course invoices? 124? Am I correct?
What number are you talking
What
about?
number are you
We're
talking
not,
about?
that's.
124 is the invoice for 124 for Matt Schenk.
Schenk and Rashada right here,
Yeah.
27.
27 and 28.
That's the problem is if we already are past that. We already did work for the golf course. This ain't for the golf course. James Allen, he used James Allen, no problem here, but he still works for Matt Schenk. If there is a conflict with the law firm, that means everybody in the law firm is not allowed under 1.7 is not allowed to sit here and give any opinions or any legal advice because the mayor used them and one of the council members used them and he paid them to one of the council members. Let me play this recording for a second.
Just for full disclosure and on record, all this time, please. I was not a councilman when I obtained Matt Schenk's opinion for services.
Did you sign a waiver? Yes or no? You must sign a waiver if you gave money to Matt Schenk.
If you're asking me a question, Council Chair, I will respond to him because I think he's confused. Because when you use a compound question as if everything's over with the golf course, it is not. We are in ongoing, actually clarification without the liquor license with the concessionaires. So it's very complicated and it's not on the agenda today, but that's what the work is. It's not closed, contrary to what Mr. Ayub has just said. It's ongoing and it's ongoing work. That's all I can say to you.
So right now we're still doing ongoing work for the golf course, am I correct?
Absolutely. They look with the liquor commission, yes.
So there's no liquor license right now.
You didn't ask that. No, you didn't say that. It's complicated. There is a liquor license, but however, it's not to deal with the issue. And if you want to play over me, then I'm not going to answer you. If you want to be rude,
Lawyer's
be rude.
responsibilities to another client, a former client or a third person or from the lawyer's own interests. For specific rules regarding certain concurrent conflicts of interest, see Rule 1.8. For former client conflicts of interest, see Rule 1.9. For conflicts of interest involving prospective clients, see Rule 1.18. For definitions of informed consent and confirmed in writing, see Rule 1.0. E and B. 2. Resolution of a conflict of interest problem under this rule requires the lawyer to 1. Clearly identify the client or clients.
Your voices have been heard and your concerns, and we will discuss it when we look at these.
You guys say don't use it, and then next thing you know, it goes on the what's it called, you guys don't say nothing about it. It's very complicated.
Thank you. We are here to talk about on agenda items only.
Good evening, everyone. Zohair Abdelhak, 354 Rosemary. 9A. Last study session, Mr. Deeb said he's short-handed and he needs help. And Mariana objected for you to deduct or to eliminate one of the jobs of part-time people in the mayor's office. But they are holding a big project, which I believe should belong to the department which is interested in it, which is the fire department. I thank him for everything they done to get the $500,000, but I believe the fire department have brought millions of dollars in grants. They know how to do the job, and we don't have to pay somebody else from outside $5,000 a year to do that job. So please pay attention to that, and I believe this project should be under the fire department and only the fire department, because they know exactly what they need and what everything needed for their fire department. So I hope that it will be removed to be put in the hands of the fire department. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on agenda items only? Anyone on Zoom?
I do not have.
Seeing none? Great, we'll move on. Next up, we have number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman Saab.
I move the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims and ACH wire transfers 6-1 through 6-35 as submitted.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Constant.
Council Chair. I'd like to remove item number 7.
What is that?
IB Electric, $7,000.
No, that's 11.
Is it
11.
11?
11.
Seven
I'm
is
sorry.
not. It's Duke's
Hold
Root
on.
Controlling, which was,
It is. I'm sorry. Strike that item number 11.
well, while we're on this, any other discussion? While we're on this, Roger, can you just discuss a little bit about 27 and 28? I'm looking at some of these bills here. And I see that Mayor and Corporation Council 11A of 1/6/2024. Our first meeting wasn't until 1/9. I believe 1/6 could have been a resolution on Councilman Saab when he first came on here. But our 1/6 wouldn't be considered a meeting because our first meeting was on January 9th. But I know that 11A was a controversial resolution by, Councilman Saab. I think it was a vote of no confidence. I forget exactly what it was. What was your first?
First motion was to remove to defund or amend the budget to remove the director's positions.
That's what 11A was. Why are we getting an opinion letter from Matt Shank or for whatever reason, any attorney on this?
Council Chair.
11A was that, and it was not from 1/6, it was from 1/9. So there was also a discrepancy here.
If
on
you
the timing.
recall, prior to the end of last year's council session, Councilman Abdul Haq had brought up some issues to dealing with the I guess the police chief, and the 2 directors. I think, and I would see it as a violation of the Open Meetings Act. That same provision was transferred to January, but Mr. You asked me a question. I'm trying to answer.
Councilman Saab wasn't
So
on the
I'm not
council.
gonna argue with you, but if you want to, we can, I don't understand your question then. I'm trying to answer it, but
No, you're getting defensive, Roger. I'm asking you. a simple question.
no,
Slow down.
that's
Hang on
not
one second,
defensive, that's explanatory.
My question to you is, you consulted with, I'm not sure with who, okay?
And he knows.
To Mayor and Corporation Council on 11A of one, well, no, I don't know. Because you told me you were just working things with, you were only working with James Allen on the golf course and the liquor license, in which we paid him and you said we're no longer going to use them. On 11A on 1/6 of 2024, I think you meant to put 1/9 of 2024, but it was probably just a typo on his end. And 11A was Councilman Saab's resolution. Why are we consulting somebody from that office?
When,
You told me James Allen was strictly for the liquor license.
you want me to answer or when you finish now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So my question
I-
to you is,
Oh, okay.
why are we using Matt Shank and his office to taxpayers' money when you could have dealt with this, or MMRMA attorneys could have dealt with this? Why are we paying them $437 plus $87 on this stuff?
Oh, okay. Well, let me explain it. I think what I was trying to say was the Open Meetings Act violation that you guys conducted when you transferred the same motions from Abdul Haq and just a little bit reworded it in January required someone with expertise, James Allen, to look at it and see if we were in the process, as you said, defunding the police, what the consequences would be. And in fact, an opinion letter was given to you at that time about the consequences of doing those resolutions that you were passing. In fact, we also talked about the not dealing with the payroll and not paying, I believe, Director Vanderplow, Director Swope, and I don't know if Chief Hart was put in. So that's what we were looking at and the consequences of such with someone with the experience of James Allen. Yeah, I have experience. I have 37 years experience, but something like that needed objective opinion, analyzing your decisions, your motions, and to carry over from the last city council meeting. I know currently that case is before the appeals court about the issue of violation of Open Meetings Act, where you take the same provision from one council and then transfer it to a second city council. That's why a lot of it came up. And in fact, we had Chris McCullough give you an opinion letter on the decisions that you were passing with your resolutions. We had a second opinion from James Allen to help do a proper report and analysis. That's all that was presented to you. All I care about is that we're not violating the law, that we're following the procedures and policies, and that we're keeping in line with our charter. When you tried to not pay, and in fact, on February 1st, I was there and I was asked by the federal judge circumstances about how would these resolutions affect the city. And Margaret Hazlitt wrote a letter that she and submitted it to us dated January 24th, when the provision was not to pay the 300 city employees, so we cannot pay Vanderplow and Swope and Chief Hart. So yes, it was a complicated time period. We were in federal court at the time, and I think that that resolution and that opinion letter was key. I didn't talk to Matt Shank about anything. We did talk and have a second opinion, both from Chris and also from James Allen.
Council Chair. Just to cheer up a second,
By the way, I just want to before you start speaking, Roger, nobody interrupt you. You just had the floor. I asked everybody here to not interrupt you while you speak. I'm going to ask you to do the same. Don't put your hand up. Don't start saying council chair, council chair. Let them finish.
I'm just going to take notes. Then
Thank
I'll
you.
respond when you give me a chance.
Council Chair,
Councilman
just
Saab.
for the record and disclosure, I never once seen Mr. Councilman Ben Abdul Haq's resolution, nor did I ever consult with him about his resolution, nor did I get a provision or a copy of his resolution. That's false information. Number two, says here, I'm actually looking, you said you had an opinion letter from HR that we defunded first you said we were trying to defund the police. That's another false statement. The police was never defunded. The police department had nothing to do. These were illegal positions that my resolution that I put forward said had nothing to do with the police department. These positions at the time, when I put this resolution forward, no, they're still there. But at the time that I put it, it was not part of our charter.
Still not part of our chart.
Correct. And what I'm saying is that he's saying we defunded the police. How did we defund the police? That's a false statement. Number three, you claim that our former HR director wrote a letter to the federal judge saying that we did not want to pay 300 employees. That's another false statement because nowhere in my motion or resolutions that I put forward ever said anything about any other employees except the positions. That's another false statement. And then here it says, actually, Mr. Woon, thank you for actually bringing this up. I'm going deep into it. So you got opinions from one firm, but you had another attorney come here give us his opinion from a different firm,
Represent us.
not represent us. Gave us, an opinion, Makula, which doesn't work for this firm. So how many opinions do you need? Wasting taxpayers' money, but then also for the record, the mayor did also reach out to Matt Shank's office and we got a bill for it once for his recall. That the taxpayers paid for it also. And that was the time when the meeting said you're no longer using that firm.
Roger, I thought we agreed that we were no longer gonna go and do this anymore. We weren't gonna use this law firm, and I think you and I agreed. I thank you for using it for the 175 an hour. But I thought we agreed we weren't gonna do this anymore.
And are you asking me, can I respond to
Yeah.
the statement?
No, I want you to answer to me.
Well, listen, I don't pick and choose how I answer. I'm answering it the way I saw it presented to me with false statements, which are inaccurate, unsupported. I believe that how when Chris McCullough came, he gave written opinions about your resolutions. You chose to ignore it. It was reissued again in January, the same issues. So we had a separate attorney look at it now. And I think the statements were just clear that how you were commenting on Act 78, which has never been ratified by the city, although we include it and follow it in our labor contracts. It's not been proven by the Office of the Great Seal or the Attorney General's office, nor have you provided the documentation to show that it was ever approved in
Point of order, please.
1964, which it should have been, and ratified with the registry for the state of Michigan. The issue of how many opinions do you need? As I said, the first opinion you ignored, which was a thorough explanation by Chris McCullough. We had a second opinion on the issues of not a letter going to the federal court, a letter that was documenting when the head of payroll came crying to the HR director that you were sending emails and there was a threat to not pay the payroll, so not to pay Swope and Vanderplow. That was documented by HR and confirmed in writing, and that's what we have a copy of. I've forwarded that to you in February. The issue of, if I can remember everything that you said.
My question
False
was-
statements, again, we dispute that. And I think it's good to get an opinion from someone I trust and you trust, Mr. Allen, who we've paid before and worked with before, to give us a objective opinion on what was going on with the new resolutions, which was a carryover from the past resolutions.
Council
Real
Chair.
quick, hang on
Council Chair,
one
please.
second, guys. Roger, my question to you, I know you answered all of Councilman Saab's, so write mine down real quick.
I think I did. I'll bet you.
My question to you is, the agreement we made on the record and me and you over the phone was, we're gonna pay this bill. And then you were never gonna use this company again. You said that you will not use them again. Those are your words. You're on the record.
I thought we had a meeting. Sorry, may I?
No, you may not, because I wasn't.
When you're finished, then I'll
Thank you.
respond.
So my question to you, and I don't want you to answer yes or no, what changed where you said now that, hey, I don't care what the council says. I know that's just like the norm now, but why are we still, and why are we even getting, like, I'm looking here on this receipt and we're getting, hang on. On 27, we're using, we're getting collective bargaining. We're something with collective bargaining with Mayshank and their firm. I don't know if you see it, but it's on
I'm sorry, my
January
computer-
16th of
My
2020.
computer went down, so I don't have it. But I'll just read. All I know is when you were talking, I'm looking at bills now in September, July and June. But I'm not, you're going back to bills from January.
It's just because it's on the bill
So
right now.
I don't know why they put it on the agenda. Now, it should have been
They
put
were
back in
just complaining
February.
about special legal
I'm
counsel.
sorry, are you talking over me or am I talking over?
No, I still
No
wasn't done.
disrespect.
You actually spoke in front of me before me. I didn't even give you the permission.
Oh, I thought you
No,
didn't
I
give
did
me
not.
permission to talk?
Excuse me?
You didn't give me permission to talk.
No,
Sorry.
I have not yet. You haven't said
So I'll wait
council
till you
chair yet.
finish, and then-
Thank you.
Thank you.
But but since you've said a few things, everybody's complaining about our special legal counsel and why I haven't given bills and 1, 2, and 3 and so on. And here we are, we're in September and we're paying a bill from January.
But you notice on the bond
I have a
contract, it says
problem with
payment
that, too.
4/10/2024. Right there. at the bottom.
Yeah. Did we approve that? I mean, did we approve that payment?
I'm gonna go with Councilman Ahmad and then I'll go with Councilman Saab and then I'll go back to Roger.
Thank you, Council Chair. I mean, one of the questions, the one you just addressed, why this is now since January, why they send it now? And my second one, if you look at 124, second page of item 27, it's blacked out. Is there a reason?
Probably,
Yeah, why is it blacked out?
personal information has to be hidden, covered.
No, it says emails, so, and we always know who the emails are from.
Yeah, it's public record.
I mean, this is just a subject, shouldn't, I don't think that any personal. No personal. Any?
What weird is, look
I
at the
don't know, I
top.
can relook at it. I haven't
Right.
looked at the old bills. That was way back
Then they bought-
in February and March. So I don't know what was happening with, since the controller's office has changed over and Maddie's been working. I don't know why it took so long for these bills to get on the agenda. I was
Nothing
hoping
from the
they'd be
audience,
there
please.
February, March to deal with. I'm looking at stuff now. But I'm willing to, send me the questions. I'll answer them as best I can. I just didn't.
Thank you, Roger. This is not a badger either. This is just me. Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
looking at this and I know we agreed that we're not using this company more and this is something that you and I
Well,
agreed on. And you
I
said it was
thought
gonna
we
be just
agreed,
to finish up the liquor license. And now we're seeing other things on here.
but I don't know if that's after when you guys said this. All I know is that this is from January and February. I know since March, April, we've just been working with them, with Jim on the liquor license. I know we
Well,
didn't
there's
use
two-
Shank at all.
Yeah, there's 28 is for, it says he spoke with, Mr. Perella or Jason Parcella. So you could see that he talked with Jason here and he puts that in here. So I can understand that. Responsibility for MMRMA and transmit same for Tim McCauley for. This isn't for liquor license. This is for all other things.
I don't, after March, didn't see anything else but the
Council
liquor
Chair, in
license
July,
issues. But with the liquor license
724, council
issues,
resolution, something about a council resolution too.
My understanding that the stuff with Jason was all liquor license.
Yeah, but this isn't all, I know, I agree with you on that one,
Yeah.
Council Chair,
Councilwoman.
in the past, we never got the blanked out version. Maybe the public one downloaded would be, but I mean, I've even had, the chief of police before, when they had cars that were going to be undercover, give me the actual cars. They weren't public knowledge, but we were able to look at them and see what they were. So
Look,
blanking this out, I'm not comfortable with those two that are blanked out. I mean,
You can take it off for now.
well, I
that we
can,
want a copy of it.
I can tell you, I don't think he's blanking this out for whatever reason. This could be, really, he could have emailed them something and the administration said, no, don't let that be seen, and they could have covered it. I don't know.
There's no reason to cover. If we're gonna pay
Because if
something,
you
we
see
need.
on top
full
of that where it's
disclosure.
covered, it says draft resolution 3 emails or draft release 3 emails, and look at the bottom, it says draft release. And then,
Point of order, please.
Council Chair, you went over me about 3 people. I had some questions that I wanted to answer.
And then there's also BG violation of federal law. Mayor and council with the directors, I mean, no, they spent some extensive time on our lawsuit.
this is what, yeah, I sorry, like I said, I can't open it here.
It's 27 to 28. Why don't you take a
No,
look
what
at it?
year? What year? I mean, what date is it?
This is from 126 of 2024.
So that's January.
Yeah.
I'll look back over to January.
Why don't we do
I
that?
can't
Why don't we set them
remember.
aside, go through it, review
Yeah.
it, give me a call, we'll go through it and we'll just remove them for now.
No problem.
How
We
does
did
that
that. I haven't looked at that since February. I think.
All right. Councilman Saab, I'm gonna head and then we'll wrap this up.
Council Chair, I just want to, again, reflect to some misrepresentation and false statements Rogers made. He claimed again, it was the same resolution as Mr. Hawk from one, council member to another one. Again, absolutely a false statement. My resolution was written. It was, thoroughly analyzed before I put it forward. and put it in front of council. So your statements are baseless, saying that I took provisions from, another councilman's resolution. And if you have any proof to bring that forward, please go ahead. You said that Act 78 was never rebuffed back or anything, and you guys claimed that Act 78 didn't exist in the city, which was another false statement, because the clerk has copies of it in every vote that residents have voted on. Number three, for the federal court letter through HR, Roger, again, I'll put this on the record, you went and settled this lawsuit illegally without concurring
Hey,
with
that's
council.
how you stop right
You know
there.
what? You're.
So don't,
Hang on.
no.
Thank you.
Councilman, be careful. Let's not discuss the lawsuit.
I'm discussing the matters of an attorney, not the directors.
Okay, well, he's in the lawsuit. He pulled in as a defendant and he's actually,
Oh, he hasn't gotten his motion yet.
yeah, but he's still filed in as a defendant and it says in the injunction. Let's refrain from discussing it, please.
Okay. Anyway, Council Chair has amended my, to remove item 11. I'd also like to remove item number 27 and 28.
Support.
All right.
Council Chairman.
Yes, sir,
Just a
Roger.
short
Can you
comment.
keep it simple? It's just
Councilman Saab,
30 seconds.
Very simple. Councilman Saab, I'd like to sit with you and I'll show you what I have to show the comparison. I'm willing to meet with you here. You can bring whoever you would like to, and then we can sit down and figure this out. That's the best way we can keep our communication. I don't need you filing police reports about me, asking you to meet with
Come on.
me. But if we can sit down and go through it, I'm willing to meet with you.
Stop
Anytime,
threatening me via
any place.
emails.
Come on.
Anytime, any
I have
place.
no point of order.
Go to the chair, please. It's done, guys. Please, this is supposed to be a simple, short meeting. Motion made by Councilman Saab to remove items number 11, 27, and 28, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No. IB Electric. IB Electric deserves to be paid.
IB Electric, the mayor said that he was gonna supply us with documents. Did he not the last meetings?
He did.
Did anybody get an email?
Nope.
Did you get an email, Nancy?
No.
Did you get paperwork in your email?
All right, guys,
Doesn't
hold on.
receive emails.
That's enough.
No, I'm
Go to the-
asking.
I know, she's entitled to her own vote.
No, and I understand. I'm asking if she got, maybe she has something.
Okay,
else
the
to say.
discussions are over. Please, Madam Clerk, please take roll call.
Tom Wenzel,
Yes.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
No.
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Hassan Saab,
Yes.
Mo Beidun.
Yes,
Motion carries 6-1.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have considerations of bid, none. Reports from the mayor, Star International Academy Homecoming Parade twenty
Council
twenty-four.
Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council grant permission to Star International Academy to hold their annual homecoming parade on Friday, September 27, 2024, at 11 a.m. with staging to begin at 10 a.m. Police Chief Swope and Fire Chief Rogan have approved their route and will provide any services that may require as outlined in 8-8.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have Chief of Staff Hernandez, City Engineer D, HUD Fiscal Year 2024 Community Project Funding Grant Award.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council accept the attached HUD fiscal year 2024 Community Project Funding Grant Award Package B-24-CB-MI-1184 in the amount of 500,000 and further authorize the mayor to sign the attached agreement. In addition, authorize the controller to create the necessary general ledger accounts for grant tracking as outlined in 9-8.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion?
Council Chair,
Councilman Wenzel?
it was mentioned by one of the residents earlier that the grant money be, I don't know the terminology, but controlled by, the chief of staff,
By the fire department is?
$500,000. It was stated by the chief of staff that they are shorthanded. And, it's a $500,000 grant for the fire department. And I think that the fire department should be in charge of, this grant and how it's spent.
Council Chair, may I?
Mr. D,
So,
thank you for being here.
okay, so this particular grant is pure engineering. So this is for the design of the fire station. And the controller will be the one in charge of the money, not this. This is the application part. But the actual work is pure design. That's the design portion of the fire station. That's not the construction part. So my end user is the fire department, but even if you put a project manager, it's still gonna come back for engineering. It is a pure design. That's a design brand.
This
It's not
from,
the actual, it's a design. part.
is this from our Congresswoman?
This is our congresswoman.
She's
That's
actually
basically-
coming to the next meeting.
And it
in
didn't go through our funding.
On October.
That's
Remind me.
that's not something that we paid the funding scout for. This is our own efforts. And we have quite a few that we have managed ourselves. We didn't seek a consultant to do, and that's one of them. In fact, even the state rep Burns is the construction part, and that 10 million is not going through our funding scout. That's our own efforts. So, but that's the construction. This one is the design.
Does it matter if it goes to the fire department and they deal with it, or do you say you want it to go to the comptrollers and you deal with it?
No, we're dealing with it. The comptroller is tracking the money.
And you said this is strictly for engineering.
This is pure engineering, design, yes. Pure design.
We're gonna have our Congresswoman here on the first meeting in October.
Yes, and she made sure Saturday or during the picnic, she told me what needs to be done. I know what needs to be done. So this needs to be obligated and, because they're using state ARPA, which is similar to what our ARPA is, but they all have the same due date. So I need to get this money obligated. That's why we're in front of you now. And we get it obligated by the end of the year.
Thank you.
Council Chair,
Yes, sir.
I think, it's only fair to involve the fire department. I mean, let's not put them down and say that they wouldn't be, smart enough or intelligent to have advice on engineering.
I didn't think he said that. I think
No,
he
I know,
said
I'm saying,
engineering.
I was just saying, well, let's get them involved, because we're not saying that we don't want you involved, because you don't know about engineering.
That's not what I said.
No, I'm not saying you, no, I'm not saying.
So
I'm saying-
actually, today's meeting was with the fire department. Every meeting we have with this
Hang
project.
on,
Yeah.
let the councilman
Yeah.
finish. You
I
have,
mean,
you can't
if it's,
interrupt him.
if it's, the comptroller and the, Ali Deeb and the representative for the fire department in on this. I mean, this is their station. I mean, all the engineering goes into, I guess, the design and the construction, future construction of it. Well, why not have the police, the fire department right in there saying, you know what, the pole we slide down when the alarm goes off, we'd like it over here instead, or something like that. This is the engineering. I mean, what's the harm?
I'm sure they.
I don't have the actual answer to it, but we can support it. And then when she's here at our next meeting, you can ask that question and we'll go from there.
Council Chair.
They actually called me today right before this meeting. That's why I know that they're coming in the first meeting in October. The clerk's gonna just have to email me.
Council Chair, thank you, Council Chair. I know where Councilman Winslow coming from, but I'm pretty sure when they send it to the engineering, firm, they're gonna sit down with the chief, they're gonna sit down with the fire department, they're gonna ask them exactly what they're looking for, what they need before they do the design. So this is pretty much something what they do before they, as if like you're building a house, you're gonna sit down with the architect, you're gonna tell them exactly what you're looking for, and they're gonna design the house exactly, to your criteria you give them. So I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen.
I
We
agree.
just have to make sure that, they're in the loop.
Yeah, well, you just said that, when you sit down with the architect, the homeowner sits down with the architect, 'cause it's gonna be their home.
Correct.
So the fire department should sit down with everybody along every space of the way, at least, unless they don't want to. I mean, maybe we could reach out to Chief Brogan and ask him, or the power.
No, I'm pretty sure they're set down, unless if I'm wrong, Mr. Deeb, that's the way it happens, correct? Yeah, but do you mind going back?
Hey,
It's just.
slow down.
The end users, fire department or the police department are part of every meeting we have. So when I'm doing the dispatch center, it's at the police station with the end users. I don't claim to know everything. They're the end users. The same with the fire station. So when we're doing the design or the construction, they're part in every meeting. Today was one of the meetings, and the fire marshal sent someone to replace him because he had the fire chief had surgery. So he sent someone to replace him. And And so they're involved every step of the way. My only involvement at this point is the engineering part, the oversight and the management. I don't claim to know fire
Once the design is up.
department, end users do. So, but that's not unique to them. This is true for, I work with Parks and Recs the same way. The meeting is with the Park and Recs, and we're just the capital, I'm the capital person. On capital projects, I provide the engineering oversight. You know, it's work with the departments, the end users. They're involved every step of the way.
Understood. Thank you for confirming whatever I just said, Mr. Deep. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Mr. Wanso, is that okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna look into a couple things, but it sounds okay.
Thank you.
That's-
All right, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
The ayes have.
Ready? Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
Yes.
Hassan Saab,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel,
No,
Moby Dun,
You won't make a
Robert.
motion.
go for it.
Robert, go ahead, Moby Dun,
No.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-2.
I feel like Tom always has something up his sleeve and he doesn't just say things to say things. And I learned my lesson to him during the whole, last time he voted no.
Council Chair, just back on that motion, if there's anything that we find different next meeting, we can always amend it.
Again, Council Chair, this is just to accept
Accept it.
the grant, not to.
I know, I think he wanted to accept the grant with having,
It's fine
Fire
right now,
department.
Council Chair. We'll get back.
Voted on it.
we'll get back on it. It's okay, pass, congratulations, it's all good. Okay, go ahead. Next up, we have 9B Comptroller Shepherd Annual Fiscal Audit and Single Audit Engagement Letter Renewal.
Council Chair,
Councilwoman Breyer.
I'd like to make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve of the one-year renewal option on our contract with Allen C. Young and Associates, PC, for the Dearborn Heights Annual Financial Audit and Single Audit. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the contract on behalf of the city. Further, authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the necessary warrants and authorize the treasurer to issue payment from GL account 101-223-817.000 as outlined in 9B.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion? I have just a quick, Director Shepherd, and I know you weren't here last year, but when we had our annual fiscal or our annual audit being done by Allen C. Young, there were many questions that I asked. And they said they didn't know the answer to it or they would get back to us. And really, in my heart, I didn't feel like they were really putting Dearborn Heights at the highest of level. I mean, there was many questions that I asked them and they said that they would email us. And I believe they did email me, but it was like 2 weeks later. And I really wasn't so proud or happy of their services, and they were the highest bidder. They were a lot higher than the other one. And my question to you is there a reason why we only had 2 bidders on there? Is there a reason why we didn't go with the lowest bidder? You know, I know sometimes we kind of get comfortable with being with somebody that we've used for X amount of years, but I'm going to be honest. I was not happy with their past performance. And sometimes being complacent or being too comfortable, we have to start realizing that we can give other people the opportunity. People would love to have our business. People know that, municipalities have deeper pockets and, it's a lot easier that when you can win an award like this, and I'm not putting this solely on yourself. I can tell you for myself, I wasn't so happy with Allen C. Young last year. And I was not happy with the way they came in with their presentation. They gave us their book. Usually we did a study session. Maybe some of that fell on myself or the former council chair and the administration. But when we asked them questions, they were not prepared. You feel that they are better this year and that they're working closer hand in hand with you and they're more competent with what they're, I'm not saying competent in their position, but I mean competent in the city of Dearborn Heights within itself.
Council Chair,
Yes.
As I mentioned earlier, I have a pressing personal issue that I have to maybe
Yep,
excuse.
you don't worry about it. I know you reached out to me beforehand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So obviously I wasn't here like their prior years, but from what I've heard from Plan Moran that they are sufficient. We didn't go out for bid again because this is an extension of their contract. This is the last year of their contract. So if you're not happy with them again, we can definitely go out for.
Well, no,
bid
we went out
after
for
that.
bids. It's in the backup. I read it.
Yeah, that was the previous bid from 22, I think. This is an extension of that contract. There was a 1-year option on that contract to extend it for 1 year.
Do we have to go with them?
At this point, I would say yes. It's so late in the season.
You know, I hate when we get handcuffed to do things because our time and we're like, and I'm not blaming you, but I hate that we bring things last minute and we have to do this now. You need to vote on this right now. We're not gonna get this grant. We're not gonna be able to get this done or your books are not gonna be done, but we want you to just to vote yes. So like, what's the point of us voting then? If no matter what, even if we voted no on this, we're in a bad position. Like we need to start giving ourselves that leeway so we can start saying things like, and I'm only saying this because this is an extreme important part of our city. Like it's our financial audit. And, when we ask them things like, I don't remember off the top of my head, I have them written down on my notes and I have the email to follow up, but their email took back, I think a couple of days later, but they weren't prepared at the actual meeting to answer these questions for us. To me, I didn't believe that they put their full heart and soul into Dearborn Heights. I don't know how numbers are, but if it's anything like an Excel when they're going through their audits, I mean, I know they said we're not in the best position, but we're okay based on their audit. But I just truly didn't believe that they're giving Dearborn Heights their best full 100% interest. That's just how I feel.
I'll communicate those concerns with them.
Council Chair.
So to me, it's going to be very hard for me to be able to vote yes on this. I'm just being honest with you. I wanted to call you on this, but I've had such a hectic week. And I'm not saying LNC Young is not a good company. I know Plant Moran has said they're a great company, but to me, I don't feel that they were giving us our full 100%. Especially with knowing that, our finances and our situation, we just went through a budget where we said to ourselves, we're not using any of our rainy day funds. We want to use, we want to be fiscally responsible. I'm not so profound of LNC Young today. Councilman Ahmad.
Thank you, Council Chair. I think there's always a way. I mean, if you're not comfortable, I'm all support. I would say let's put it back for bids, or there's always a second option too, so.
And I'm sure the second option would be like, wow, thank you for giving me the opportunity. We're not gonna let you down.
That bid was from 2 years ago.
I know, but they're still available. I'm sure any company would love to jump on to our city and say, either way, there's a motion on the table, a vote's gonna happen. But I can tell you right now, any audit firm would come and say, I would love to look at your books and I would do anything to have this business. And that's just my thought on it. Sometimes the number one or the best companies are not always the ones that are gonna look and treat your one company the best. They're just the best. And so they say, hey, we have this best company, but we have 50 other companies that we're looking at. Sometimes that doesn't mean that they're the best for our city. That's just my thought on this. And then I want the council to keep in mind that this is a very, very important vote. This is just not just a renewal. This is the second option. And if you recall from last year, and not all everybody was on here, they struggled. They struggled during our meeting.
Council Chair. Yeah. Have you worked with them before in your previous job?
I have not.
You have not.
Well, either way, any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
No. Madam
Ready?
Clerk, please take roll call.
Okay. Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
No.
Hassan Saab,
No.
Mo Beedun.
No?
Time motion fails.
And then Shannon, I'm sorry, I will reach out to you early tomorrow morning and we can have this discussion. Thank you.
Council Chair, I apologize, but it was passed, council tie motion pass
No,
or failed,
failed,
okay.
defeated.
Next up, we have 9C, Library Director McCaffrey, purchase and payment of library chairs.
Council Chair.
Chair,
Wow, Councilwoman Menalowski Maxwell.
I move that Library Director McCaffrey purchase and payment library chairs. That the Dearborn Heights City Council approved the purchase and payment of 80 chairs from Office Chairs USA in the amount not to exceed 24,500. This will be funded from account line 738-738-981 capital outlay, which factored this item into the budget for the fiscal year as outlined in 9C.
Support.
Motion made by Councilwoman Menalowski Maxwell, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. We have two women on this. Any discussion?
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad.
Thank you, Council Chair. I just want to thank the director for an amazing job and for providing us with 3 bids. You're always on point. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I will also echo some of that. And then I also looked at some of the imaging. I know we're gonna get to the carpet next. Those chairs, believe it or not, they're mobile and they're so awesome. And I thank you because this makes it easier on a lot of our disability residents that are disabled and need help being able to move from side to side. This makes it very, very easy on them. I know I have a friend who's in a walker and one of her favorite things she tells me is that the chairs that are mobile, I believe we have some that are like this now currently. Is that correct, Director? And she really talks about how much she enjoys these because she's in a walker constantly, but when she's sitting down now, she becomes in a walker as well. So this is great and I thank you for this. And again, like Councilman Ahmad said, having 3 bids on this is absolutely amazing. Please step up if you have something to say.
So when I'd submitted the picture, that was for the color. The wheels on it, we actually don't have wheels on these because they're actually light of frame and easy to move because they're not very heavy. I initially had wheels on them and I got feedback from people that have trouble sitting down that actually don't prefer wheels sometimes
Really?
because they'll roll back. And
It's hard
so
to
it's
get up.
better to actually have, that don't have wheels on them.
Well,
That said,
let me
we
need-
do have furniture with wheels on it in the library, should that be needed. So I want to make sure I was clear on that point.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, you can just stay up there since you have quite a few things up
Okay.
there.
Sure.
All right, motion made by Councilwoman Menalowski Maxwell, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have Library Director McCaffrey, purchase and payment from John F. Kennedy Junior Library Carpet.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the replacement of carpet at John F. Kennedy Junior Library by Library Design Associate Inc. for a cost not to exceed $132,540, which will be paid through account 738-738-981 as outlined in 9-D.
Second.
Support. I'm gonna go with Councilman Constant on this one. Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Constant. I love that everybody's engaging in this and I thank you guys for really doing this and you're doing this for your residents. Most importantly, any discussion on the new carpet at the John F. Kennedy Library Junior?
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad.
So with this one, Director, we didn't have more bids. Is it,
This is the same vendor that we used for the CK library.
Right.
I just carried over the same bid for this particular project. The square footage or cost per square foot is almost identical, maybe a couple pennies more per square foot. And in this particular case, this particular carpet has multiple different colors of carpet, which normally drives the price up. So I got it basically at the same price. The reason this particular company is normally used is because they have to move the shelving and the furniture, and the shelves that are on this carpet cost a lot more by far than the carpet that's under it. That is very expensive shelving. So it's built to last and it's very heavy. It's built for.
so I think they are insured for moving
Oh,
the
yes.
items?
Yes, they are, and they're qualified, and they're a particular company that a lot of libraries use because they're so skilled and experienced in this area.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you so much. Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have 9E, Library Director McCaffrey, Library Technology Infrastructure Update.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman Breyer. I got the nod from Councilman Johnson. Sorry, Councilman.
I recommend the motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize BAE to assist in updating the computing infrastructure at both libraries for an amount not to exceed $4,918. This project will be grant funded and charged to line 738-808 accordingly as outlined in 9E.
Support.
Motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
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 I'll do that again. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I don't want to jinx yourself. You're all set there, Mr. McCaffrey. Thank you so much for all that you do. Next up, we have Parks and Recreation Director, Waddle Park Play Structure Border Installation.
Council Chair,
Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase and installation of play curb borders for the Waddell Park play structure in the amount of $5,908.88. This price has been obtained through Omnia Partners, which is a state and local government cooperative purchasing program. In addition, authorize the comptroller and treasurer to pay $2,954.44 out of the 2024-2025 Parks and Recreation Budget, account 691-887, and $2,954.44 out of the 2024-2025 DPW Budget, account 101-265-931-000 as outlined in 9-F.
Support.
Yeah, a motion by myself, Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilwoman Denise Milewski Maxwell. Any discussion? I see no discussion. Whoever is in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to 9G, Parks and Recreation Director SOAR, Central Park Improvements, Intergovernmental Agreement Amendment Number 1.
Council Pro Tem,
Please go ahead. Councilwoman.
I move that Dearborn Heights City Council to approve Amendment Number 1 to the Central Park Improvements Intergovernmental Agreement approved by the Wayne County Commission on October 20th, 2022 by Resolution Number 2022-737, extending the agreement from September 30th, 2024 to June 30th, 2025 for the completion of the improvements to Central Park. In addition, authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the agreement as outlined in 9G.
Second.
A motion by Councilwoman Milewski Maxwell and seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion? I see none. Whoever is in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to 9H, Parks and Recreation Director SOAR, Canfield Center Marquee Sign, Change Order Number 1.
Council
Council Chair.
Pro Tem,
Councilwoman.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve change order number 1 to the Canfield Community Center marquee sign contract in the amount of $6,250 for a total contract amount of $69,325. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the change order and authorize the comptroller and treasurer to pay this out of the 2024-2025 Park and Recreation budget as outlined in 9H.
We have a
Second.
motion.
Council Chair.
I'm sorry, we didn't have a second yet.
Second for discussion.
Second for discussion. So a motion by Councilwoman Milewski Maxwell and seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion?
Yes, Council Chair, Council Pro Tem. So I have a few questions. If anybody's here from this company also, I have a few questions and questions to the director. So I actually went out to the site myself. I spoke to Mr. Watland too. And actually I got a call from a local business of what's going on. So, in their backup, it says that they have to run a new line. The line's too small and that they were gonna bore out a new line. So problem is I went out there, as you can see in the pictures here, that I'm showing forward, this line is empty with a fish line through it. I talked to Mr. Watland regarding the amperage and, local licensed electrician for this LED sign, which is kind of excessive. So, we never got a diagram or anything of the power this unit is gonna use. And they said they were running, Ethernet wire through it at 110 feet plus whatever is in the building. Ethernet wire to that length starts, losing its frequency quite much. But on their contract, looking back at the contract, they had a cellular option also. Then it says in their contract, let me, pull up the contract here, 1 second. If you look here, their contract says run new electrical power line underground for sign and maintain room in Canfield Center for sign $5,800. Okay. My second question is that a company reached out to me that this company, Lead Lion Inc., had hired a company that's not licensed to pull an electrical permit on their behalf for them to do the work. And the man stated to them, they're not running conduit, they're just running the line for half of the cost. My question is here is that, do we do our due diligence before we hire these companies? That they're licensed and everything they're doing is correct? Because we have a licensed electrician in the city of Dearborn Heights that reached out to me and said a company called Vintage Electric reached out to him to pull a permit on behalf of his company for them to do the work on a city property.
I have been told that they are licensed, okay? And then the thing that they are,
Who's licensed?
that Lead Lion is.
Okay.
Okay.
The electrician they are subcontracting is not licensed.
I do have the contractor on Zoom to
Okay.
answer a lot of your
Sure.
questions. The one thing that I do know is the conduit, we thought that we could use the old one and you can't, and it goes from the sign to the building. The wire that we have, in there now is relatively small. So it does not, the new stuff would not fit through that, a newer one, but, if, you can find him on Zoom, he's
Just,
there.
just for full disclosure, this is a 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch brand new conduit that's not used. This is not the old line.
The old one's too small to use.
This is not a, do you see that picture right there, up there? That's a brand new line.
Mr. Deeb can talk more on the electrical details.
I have the individual with his hand
So
up.
part of the
Hang on, Mr.
systems
Deeb.
that I,
Hang on 1 second. I have the individual with his hand up, Hussein Mukahal,
yes,
and it looks like he has his hand up, and I'd like to hear from him.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Start with him.
Good evening, guys. How are you guys?
Dan, how are you? How you doing? Hope all is going well.
I'm doing well. Thank you guys very much. Just to clarify, Councilman Saab, the line that you see, that is the one that we installed.
That's the new one.
So you went ahead and installed this line but your backup says that you're gonna bore a line.
So the boring was not in the actual bid. The bid stated that we were using the existing conduits to actually run underground. When you have a 60 amp, 220 volt line, it's a number 4 AWG, which means it's a thicker line. The NEC code states anytime you have a number 4 AWG conduit needs minimum of 1 inch schedule 40. We did our due diligence and applied a 1 inch and a quarter.
Sam, can I ask you a question? You can unmute him. I don't know. I think he muted himself.
Oh, he did mute himself.
My question is going to be to Mr. Mukahal and really to the director and to maybe Mr. Deeb. You know, when you guys went out here and you guys went out and they went out to bid this, and you guys, I'm sure looked at this and you said, okay, this needs this needs that, this is going to cost this thing. You guys do all your work, right?
Mhm.
And then one of the things that you told us about why we went with Lead Lion, who was the lowest bidder, you told us is because we are using the existing electricity. Those are your words here at this meeting, just a few months ago. And
I didn't say we're using the existing line.
you said there's
because
already electricity here, and so it's not costing us it's only costing us X amount of dollars.
Council
Now
Chair,
we're-
can we interrupt?
Well, hang on. So my question is,
Yes,
when you went out there, Mr. Mukahal, I'm sure you do great things, you do great work. Now that I'm seeing and now I'm hearing Lead Lion, it's actually telling me, I think you guys did some work with the NFL draft that was here in Detroit. I think Lead Lion was there and you guys did a lot of great work. So I know you guys are a prestige a company, I know that when you looked at the sign, you probably thought this is the piece of cake. Was there something after the fact that you did your due diligence that you realized, oh, this isn't gonna work?
They dug into the ground and then they found that they couldn't, use the same conduit because it was too small.
So Council Chair, you
Well, I wanna-
interrupted me. I wasn't done.
Just let him finish because I was taken from his time and then he was muted. So Mr. Makahal, I'm gonna let you go ahead and continue, but that was my question and then I'll let Councilman Saab continue.
Can you repeat your question one more time?
When you did your due diligence, did you not realize, when you quoted this, I would assume that you would make these adjustments when you did your initial bid. Not coming before us again for an additional $6,000 or $7,000. This is the burden that the city's gonna have to take on.
I understand. And what I can also correct, I think Councilman Saab had stated it was 200 feet or 25 feet, or I forgot what feet he stated, but I just want to also correct.
110.
Yeah, it's 310. It's
Okay.
310.
Okay.
And we can take a wheel out there and, I'd be more than happy to meet you out there and go through it. Absolutely.
Okay. So Council Chair, I got some.
And I'm gonna leave you unmuted, so don't mute yourself, okay, Hassan?
So you said, so you guys said you ran this conduit, right?
Correct.
What company ran this conduit?
Advanced directional boring.
Okay. Do you have an invoice for him? And then why was it put in then now we're getting a bill for it now? Why didn't you come to council for approval first or pre-authorization?
Because we had a timeline that we had to follow in regards to the money that, we got from Wayne County and I was concerned about losing the funds.
Please,
So-
please.
so-
Can I answer?
Please, sir.
Yes, sir.
When we want to talk, we'll ask you to talk.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize.
So this goes back to every single department we have, including to the mayor's office. No department has the authorization to make such an authorization past $1,500. It has to come before council.
I understand
So
that,
the
but
work was
you're
done.
in jeopardy of losing
It
funds.
doesn't, you're still in violation of the charter. Right or wrong? This is taxpayer money.
Get on with the point.
So my point is that this work apparently has been done and now it's coming to council. But here in their contract, three things, I'm looking at it, it's right, pulled up right in front of us. It says, run new electrical power line underground or signed from maintenance room in Canfield Canfield Center to sign, $5,800. Option A, it says, price for fiber optic or data line, not available. On the bottom, it says option B, cellular communications. At 310 feet to run Ethernet wire, what signal are you gonna get? Nothing. So he even justified my statement even more by saying 310 feet, not 110 feet that I said. So did you consult with the building department regarding this?
Basically, I went by the bids and I compared all of the bids.
But who authorized the work to be done prior to council approving it?
I actually, said that we were running out of time for the funds. And
That doesn't give you the.
There were just employees, and I'm not gonna name names, that got fired for such things.
You could have emailed.
We can't play double advocates here where somebody makes the decision to do whatever they want, but we're gonna go after and target other employees and other.
Objection, council.
Don't interrupt. No names were said.
Hey,
No,
let the chair,
it's
let the
wrong.
chair take it. I got it.
Incorrect. and
Roger,
dangerous.
please, point of order. Just
So Council Chair, I ask right now that this be removed and actually this contract be put on hold. I sent an email. I want this contract to be investigated. Just like any other contract that we just removed an item for $7,000 because it never came to council.
thank you, Councilman. Any other discussion from any other councilman?
Council Chair,
Yes.
I mean, to be honest with you, I have to agree with Councilman Saab. I mean, he makes sense and I'm sick of tired of all these changes. I mean, you give a bid, just do your job. I mean, this is not fair for the second bidder. He could have got it. Or could have,
just so you know, the second bidder started at 100,000,
I mean,
just so you know.
but still, I mean, this is just an example, but just everybody needs to be clear from the start. You do a bid, do your job, do your homework, see exactly what you need, and just put it in the bid. I think I am in support of Councilman Saab, to be honest with you. So.
I'm gonna hear one more time from Sen Makahal. I know he said he had a few things, but Sen, when you looked at the bid, you put in there $5,800 to run electric underground. Why would we be paying additional $6,200? But before you answer that question, I want you to keep in mind, I actually did get a phone call from a licensed electrician And I want you to know this, say, maybe you don't know this, but the electrician that you hired or probably subcontracting to do the work contacted another resident electrician and said, you know, can you pull this permit for us? We have to be careful from this stuff.
Council Chair, can I speak?
Yes, sir, Hussein, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for informing me that. The first thing I'd like to say is we have not hired a single electrical contractor for this job yet. There's no electrical permit even pulled. The reason being is because I know it might sound funny, but my father has been bedbound for 3 weeks, so that's something that we've been focusing on right now with his health. So we have not hired a single electrical
I'm so
contractor
sorry about that.
for this job. So I'd like that to be on record. Thank you. Oh, also, one more thing, just so I can clarify. We've done a lot of federal contracted work, and we understand that time is of the essence, especially when it comes to grants. Myself, I'm the president of a local 501c3 nonprofit, and I've done countless grants for the last 3 years. One thing I truly try to epitomize, especially for people in elected positions, try to take a grant course, try to do a grant once in your life. You'll really understand how difficult it is to get something way in advance and how sensitive a topic could get on deadline dates. Thank you so much.
Hussein, I just want to tell you, and I know you muted yourself, so thank you for that. And really, my heart goes out to you and your family and your father. And I'm hoping and praying, Allah Tawul Umro. I really want you to know, though, we've had this grant with Wayne County through Commissioner Kniezek for almost 2.5 years. 2.5 years, and we've renewed this with them, with the city multiple times because we didn't want to lose out on this money. But I agree with you. Sometimes things could be time sensitive. I want you to know, Director, this is going to be very hard on me because Councilman Saab makes some really valid points. We can't just keep spending money without the approval of the council. And like he said, through the grapevines, we've heard that an employee, no names, has lost his position because supposedly for the same reason. And so we can't play the double standard here. I'm just really sorry about that. This is something that you brought before us, and I helped fight this with you. But I can't tell you that we can spend another additional $6,200 because we're now digging underground and realizing that we can't use anything existing, but in reality, we charge for lines to go underground. Sorry.
Chair. How much grant money is at stake here?
We've already passed the grant money. Money was already given to us.
Oh,
Yeah,
he wants to say something else.
I think I gave him enough time here to speak, Councilwoman.
Council Chair.
I want to wrap this up, Councilman, just take it to a vote.
I would like to take a vote to remove this and actually.
Well, the vote was on the table
Okay.
to support it.
That's fine.
If you vote yes, you support it. You vote no, it fails. We don't have to take it to a vote to switch
Sure.
it. We just
No.
vote on this. So motion made by Councilwoman Menalowski Maxwell, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
No.
Madam Clerk, please take roll call. No.
Bert Constant. Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
No.
Moby Dun,
No.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
No.
and Hassan Saab.
No.
Motion fails. 1-5. Motion defeated.
Thank you. Next up, we have Parks and Recreation Director Sauer, Canfield Center, Marquis,
No,
Stein.
That's what we.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry then. Did I read all the right names?
13A.
Did you guys do Central Park improvements?
You weren't here.
Okay. Sorry, I was in the restroom. Next up, we have new business license renewal for Rusted Crow
Council
Distillery.
Council Chair.
Crow Distillery.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman Menalowski Maxwell.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the business license renewal for Rusted Crow Distillery located at 6056 North Telegraph as outlined in 13A.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Maxwell, seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have comments from council members.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad, age before beauty.
Thank you, Council Chair.
We have age and beauty over Councilman Saab. I'll tell you right now. You're so much better looking and your age is a lot higher. Sorry, Council.
I'm surprised.
I just want to mention, tomorrow is 9/11, and I think it was a black day for our nation. And if you don't mind, Council Chair, if we can take a moment of silence for all the souls that we left us that day. Thank you, everyone. Also, Council Chair, I just want to mention, whatever Councilman Winslow mentioned last Thursday, we have the City of Dearborn Heights employee and family picnic that's set by the council body, Madam Clerk Cynthia and Madam Treasurer Lisa Hicks Clayton, to be set on Saturday, the 21st of September. And the location is in the Elite Sports on Kinlock in Dearborn Heights. So I hope all our staff and their family can make it that day. It's 100% free for them, and we're going to have raffles, and should be a fun day. So I hope we can see everybody that day. Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you. I'll just say a few things here. First and foremost, my heart goes out to the families that have all been affected by 9/11, 2001, Ms. Shivak's class, 6th grade. I remember every student being pulled out of class. And, this was the first time where my mother actually pulled me out of class, and I didn't know much what was going on. And she said, just get in the car. And, this was a really, really hard time for our country. And so my heart goes out to everybody. Really, it's a day that we'll never forget. Second thing that I have to say is now, since we're talking of 9/11, and we've, a lot of firefighters in New York and from other states flew into New York to help out, with Ground Zero and putting out this fire. And I want to thank for all those firefighters that really went above and beyond, and for those first responders, really, that were on the ground, on the boots on the ground in New York. I also want to thank our Dearborn Heights firefighters for throwing one hell of a, chili cook-off. They did a phenomenal job. Shout out to them. The men and women in the fire department go above and beyond. Our community, our staff, we all were there, and it's so amazing that we all come together and to hang out and try out the best chili, to see the clerk there, the council members, employees of City Hall. It was such a beautiful time. They brought in a helicopter, bounce houses. Thank you guys, for real. Thank you guys. It was absolutely amazing. One other thing that I also want to thank our police officers. I noticed that there's been a lot of ticketing. I was driving down Van Born the other day, passing by the resident's house, and I saw you could just see a bunch of officers that were pulling people over for speeding. And so thank you to our first responders, our police officers in the city. I also then seen them on Ford Road issuing tickets, making sure that, our safety in our community is there. And so I appreciate you guys. And then I also want to address a few things at the last council meeting. And I don't want to get too much into it during the special meeting. Things kind of got a lot of hectic. And as the council chair, I asked for an individual just to ask for an officer to step somebody outside. And it was shut down by our police chief. And I want to make this very clear. The sergeant at arms, I'm not asking for anybody to be arrested, but if I'm requesting for somebody that is disturbing the peace in the council meeting, and as the council chair requests for that person to be stepped out, the council chair has that authority. The council chair is not requesting for somebody to be arrested. And so in the charter, which I've read, is if anybody is causing peace in these chambers, the council chair has the authority to ask that person to leave. And they're more than welcome. I'm not asking them to be barred from council meetings. But that is the authority of the council chair, is to control peace into these chambers. And that goes for every single one of you over here as well, including the administration. So I wanted to be clear that the council chair makes that decision. Nobody else. And if they can't be honored, and by all means, if we need to bring in security here to ensure the safety of the public and for the peace in this chamber, then so be it. Don't put us in that position. Please. And lastly, to our council members that are on here today, I got to thank each and every single one of you. And I like to do this because the role that you do as council members is not easy. Just this week, me and my wife, actually, every time somebody called me regarding a city issue, I sent her a tally. I sent her one. Gladly, and I'm blessed and I'm thankful to be able to help out because really, who am I to have the privilege of helping an individual? I took on 77 calls from our last city council meeting. 77 different issues that I've either helped out a resident with or an issue for the city or somebody that just wanted to vent, and I'm blessed. So I want you to know that if I'm taking this on, you can only imagine, yes, some of them are from the multiple same, and I love it, right? And I see Angela laughing in the audience, and I really, really enjoy this, but I just want you to know that if I'm taking on this many calls, so are the rest of this council members. And so, including the mayor, including the clerk, including our treasurer, you guys, we are taking on so many of these phone calls as elected officials, and from the mayor to the clerk to the treasurer to the entire steam body. You guys are all amazing. You all deserve a round of applause. All the elected officials in this great city. Because it's not easy to be in these seats. Really, it's not. So clerk, treasurer, I know I don't give you guys much of the attention and love always. I thank you guys as well. That's all I have for today.
Council Chair.
Councilman Saab.
First, I'd like to recognize also the many people that lost their lives on 9/11. It's a day that nobody forgets. And honestly, also want to recognize all the first responders that are facing health issues now from being on ground zero and the suffering they're going through. Also want to thank the firefighters cook-off, the chili cook-off. It was honestly a great event. It's an interesting event, many laughs. It's a good time. Great seeing everybody there. Also want to wish my wonderful wife happy birthday today.
Birthday.
This morning I thanked her for putting up with all the political issues I bring home. So happy birthday to her. One great attorney she is. Thank you.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman.
I wanted to say I brought in a bunch of Hungarian hot yellow peppers. They're in a bag up here. Anybody can have them. Help yourself. The garden's overloaded.
Hungarian hot peppers?
Roger will share.
Angela took a bunch of them.
Oh, he's okay.
I was hoping to get fixed today, but it didn't happen.
Council.
Councilwoman.
I'd like to make a statement thanking Jason at our golf course for donating 2 of his golf carts for our activity on August 31st for RHS's reunion. We had 450 to 500 people in the park. It helped with the seniors and the people who were slightly handicapped. Thank you, Jason. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Chair. I too would like to thank the firefighters union and the fire department for another great annual chili cook-off to benefit the children and others at the Burn Center, the Burn Camp. It was a great event. It was nice to see everybody there. Nice to see everybody there at the chili cook-off. Good job, firefighters. And to want to remember those that lost their lives in the tragedy of September 11th, and hope that our nation has moved forward and will continue to move forward in the world and in international relations and understanding between different groups. Thank you.
Thank you. I know I already spoke. I'm just gonna say one more thing. I want to.
No.
Really, I want to
Yeah.
actually recognize a resident here. Mr. Abdul Haq attends our meetings. Sometimes, he's vocal because he cares. And this gentleman has been coming to the meetings since I've been here for the last 4 years. And when I was watching him 7 years ago, he's at every meeting. It's crazy. And if he's on vacation, he's on Zoom. He just can't get enough. But really, that is, something I really recognize Mr. Abdul Haq. And really, these chambers would be quiet and empty without him. Really, thank you. Some people may see it as controversial, but to me, I see it as somebody that's committed. I think he's been here since like 2012. He hasn't missed a Tuesday.
He wasn't there from before that.
2002? 2000? Wow. 10 years old.
You're in Cyprus.
Next up, we're gonna go to administration.
Are we doing announcements?
Yep, announcements from administration.
Is Dana on the other thing?
That is.
Oh, that's council. Okay. All right, announcements. I have two. Our Ecorse Creek meeting is on the 25th, 6 p.m. at 3335 South Beach Daily. And our own city engineer will be there to discuss what's going on with the Ecorse Creek. Then on Thursday, the South Dearborn Heights Civic Association, 7 p.m., same location. We'll have Tom Roscoe as the speaker. Roscoe. He's with Tifa and the Brownstown. And so he'll answer all the questions we have. What is it?
You said Brownstown.
Oh, yeah, I don't mean Brownstown. Yeah, Bob corrected me and he's right. Anyhow, he'll be able to tell us what Tifa does for our city and what the other group does that keeps bad things out of our city. So I hope to see some of the people at the 7 o'clock meeting on the 26th. Thank you.
Any other announcements?
So hello, Council Chair and Mayor. Just want to say that this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. at Carolyn Kennedy Library, we will be having our annual open house. Sign up for a library card, try electronic resources, enjoy cider and donuts, play on inflatables, and participate in a tin can raffle sponsored by over 30 donors. Family entertainer Cameron Zavaro will perform a comedy magic show at 2 p.m. and other departments and organizations will be there, including Wayne Mobile Health Unit, among others. That's all for now. Thanks for your time and see you at the library.
Thank you so much, Director.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Beauty.
Just an update from the Treasurer's Office. We like to partner with different agencies and groups. We wanted to share that the Internal Revenue Service is offering a Prevention of Scams Symposium on September 26th, and it's at 2 p.m. Now, we've put this on the website. We've also had it on social media. And we have flyers available at City Hall and also at both our senior centers because we want to make sure people are aware of this symposium because unfortunately a lot of times our seniors are victims of scams. So we are inviting everyone to join this Prevention of Scams initiative again September 26th at 2 p.m. If you have any questions or need the information, please contact our office at 313-791-3410. Thank you.
Council Chair. I'm just going to make a couple of announcements I made earlier. We're going to review the short-term rentals Airbnb at the Planning Commission. If you guys, I know I've spoken to someone that owns seven with Rick Watland that owns 7 Airbnbs. I had him look at it. But anyway, we ran it by the building department. If I would appreciate any comments beforehand from council to look at it, any changes they see. Because after it goes from there, it's going to come to you.
I'll be at the meeting on Thursday.
I'm going to.
Yeah, if you can let me know beforehand so I can anticipate it and.
Can you send it over to us?
Just to make sure. Yeah, it's on, I thought it was on the website, but I'll make sure it gets over to you.
Email it over to me so that if I have any questions,
Very good. As I just asked for your,
I'll send it to you guys.
support and prayers as, we meet with, the CEO of, I meet with the CEO of Living Cities. I'd really love to get that, program in our city, especially with certain areas where we'd like to see renters turn into homeowners with down payments and the money that will be allocated to small businesses to help revitalize the Van Born area. I don't guarantee it's going to work, but I just hope that we have the ear of the CEO. We're scheduled to meet tomorrow at 8 p.m. and see if we can take their attention away from Detroit and focus on our areas here that need help. Again, the ordinance that Mr. DeShroon had mentioned, we have it in phase. I expected to have it by this next meeting or the meeting after for your review on the blight issues and incorporating what Dearborn has done, as well as Allen Park and some other cities.
Thank you so much, Roger. Any other announcements from council? I'm going to go to Zoom first today. And so I'm going to start off with Dana. I'm sure it's probably Mr. Dana Parrish. There he is. A green shirt on today. Hold on, Mr. Parrish.
Can't hear you.
Okay, good evening. I know you can hear me now. Dana Parrish, Grinley Park, Dearborn Heights.
You got 3 minutes. Yep, go ahead.
Grinley Park, Dearborn Heights. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Last week, or the last council meeting, I did see the confrontation that Councilman Baydoun. I know. I don't know how to spell it eventually. I just wanted to say a couple things. obviously got out of hand. And there is no excuse for anyone crossing the stanchions or the barrier there. There's obviously no excuse for that. I also want to say that the situation could have been easily diffused, and instead it escalated. Words can diffuse situations. I was a police officer for many years. Instead, it was escalated. And I think if you review the video, you'll see how easily it could have been de-escalated. Instead, it escalated. I've had a situation with that same person before, and they literally fired me up as well. So you might want to talk amongst each other and see how perhaps you can verbally de-escalate situations. I would like to know about the study session, the update session for the ordinance department today. Unfortunately, I didn't get out there. I'd like to see that happen, if that's going to happen again, because it's important to all of us. And in regards to blight in and of itself, I don't know how much review folks have done, but I know working in Taylor and its reputation for a long time, this doesn't just happen overnight. This doesn't happen in 2 years or 4 years or 5 years. This is a 10, 20-year problem. So this isn't going to change overnight. And you folks have already tried to get the judges involved. I think it's time now to make the judges get involved because they're part of the problem. We haven't had mass exodus of people. 2008 was the last problem we had with housing prices go down. We haven't had industry leave. Part of the problem is not that we have lazy ordinance officers. The biggest part of the problem is if prosecution doesn't happen, unfortunately, people are going to get discouraged. They're only human. So we need to get prosecution to happen as well as looking at our ordinances and make sure people follow through. We can't force them to do anything. Obviously, they're judges, but they get elected just like you folks do. And they spoke volumes when they refused to come to that last council meeting when you all asked them to. So maybe next time we can subpoena them to come. So thank you all very much. Have a good evening. Nice talking to every one of you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Parrish. Next up, we have iPhone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Mr. Jamal. I am speaking as the Director for Community and Economic Development Department. I didn't have a chance to make an announcement. I'd like to request that our resident be patient with us. We did apply for $15 million for FEMA home demolition and acquisition. That's a grant through a SWIFT program. The application was accepted. There is a 53 homes being identified by FEMA at the Fed level, and we're working with the Michigan State Police to go ahead and be in contact with the people who's been identified. They are outside the area where we did the grant in the past. There are two other grants equal $8 million for 40 homes. They are alongside the creek. Those new SWIFT program, they are outside the area and they are 100% identified by FEMA, not being chosen by the city of Dearborn Heights. We will be in contact with those specific residents. Be patient. Thank you very much. We will keep you informed as we go. You have a good night.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Hussein Makahal. Even though I shouldn't say your name, you should state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on.
Hussein Mokahal, Woodworth, Dearborn Heights. Again, guys, I just want to thank you guys very much for the conversations earlier today. I want to put a cool shining note on the city of Dearborn Heights. There's a lot of young men out there that really want to put Dearborn Heights in the best of light. I'm a Canadian myself, moved out here about 6 years ago, and Dearborn Heights has taken me under my wing in the best of ways. I've been involved in the community with local chamber of commerce, and Dearborn Heights continues to be brought up in the best of lights. I'm going to share with you guys some quick information about things that we've been doing. Lead Lion actually just got accepted to phase 1 SBIR proposals with the National Science Foundation. for a new innovation in robotics for the construction industry. So we're actually very, very happy to have Lead Lion, represent the city in that nature. So again, thank you guys very much, and proud of everything you guys are doing. Thank you.
You know, Hassan, I'm gonna tell you, you can unmute him. That was so classy of you, and to really take the high road that way. I mean, really, I tell you, I love that. The way you just took the high road on there. You showed me how classy you are. Wallah, thank you for that.
Absolutely. One thing I could tell you is we were raised with a life of abundance. So we're all about networking and connections at the end of the day. So
And you
feel
have to-
free to call
and
me
you have
whenever
to-
you guys would like.
And I want you to know that the vote today on Lead Lion on the increase of 6,200 was nothing personal or on Lead Lion. This is the council saying we have accountability, and there's proper policy and procedure, and we're asking that before you spend any money, you must come before the council. And this obviously work was done, and now it's asking council. Then we started getting random phone calls, but I hope you can see that. I hope this job continues to finish. And if you have to take on that burden, I'm sorry that we put it on you and not on the taxpayers, but we can no longer put that on the taxpayers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom? Seeing none, let's go into person. He does not get an
I know
extra
he did
minute.
that. That's okay. If I was on Zoom, you tell me, okay, go on Zoom. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say my name. Hassan Ayum, PO Box 1132. Dearborn, Michigan 4121. I can identify myself as Mo Baidoon today. You know that, right?
You can identify yourself.
Yes, okay. So today I identify myself as Council Chair Mo Baidoon.
Okay, Mr. Baidoon, please continue.
Okay, just to let everybody know, when James Allen takes a case and Matt Schenck has to do something with it, and he works for Matt Schenck, you guys have to understand something. That Dave Abdullah was sitting over here. When you guys and he personally said, guys, I don't want you to use Matt Schenck. And guess what happened? Everybody said, okay. And then all of a sudden we're getting bills. I just want to ask one question. So every time there's an opinion, before you approve, what's it called? I'm going to do a FOIA to get the opinions. And if council, I'm going to say it, nothing personal. I hate people lying to me. And if I find out, I'm going to put this on the record, that Roger's lying to me.
Let's not.
Hold on. I'm going to say something.
You want
I
to
am
accuse me of
entitled-
lying
I
to you?
am entitled to file.
Look,
a grievance-
I don't
a grievance.
appreciate
Roger,
dude
Roger,
trying to
put the
call
phone
me a liar.
Come on, Roger. I asked you not to use
I
it.
am entitled to file a grievance because the attorney cannot lie. You have taken oath. And if I find out that you have got an opinion not regarding a liquor license and regarding any litigation or regarding anything else, and you said it on the record that you talked to James Allen regarding the golf course. We've been fighting this golf course for years. The liquor license was already given to the guy.
No, he has not gotten it yet.
Okay, so who's working on the what's it called?
It's supposed to be the city. I don't know.
So all they're working on is a liquor license?
Doesn't seem like based on the receipt, but Roger's gonna get us the information.
I want details on the information, but if it has to do with any litigation or any kind of consulting, and it has nothing to do with the liquor license, and he lied about it, this is all videotaped. I will be filing a grievance with the Grievance Commission for lying. Very simple.
Anyone else in the audience?
Yeah, I will just respond.
Yeah, Roger,
Someone
you don't
threatened
need to.
me.
It's great. You're giving us a detailed
All right,
list.
all right,
It's okay.
all right. I'm just gonna sue anybody that comes after me with something
Yeah.
false.
Okay.
And I'll find out who's Mr. Mackey or Mr. Shohadi is paying him. I will find out. Okay?
Mr.
So yeah.
Shahadi, why-
You guys all need to chill out, man.
By the way, Roger, listen, let's not bring in, first of all, wow, I do not know why you're bringing up Mr. Shahadi's name. I don't know if Mr. Shahadi's paying him or not, but you know what? If that statement is not accurate, then you could potentially be sued.
Thank you for putting it on the record, because I've never talked to him. I don't even know how the guy got me out.
Okay. Time.
Put on the record.
We're at the podium.
Point of order, please go ahead, ma'am.
All right. I'm sorry, Angela.
Take a pill, everyone. Relax.
You just gotta calm down.
Angela Venegas, Dwight Street. I would like to give kudos to our police department for the apprehension of the little boys, young men, doing all the donuts and the burnout in the parking lot in Dearborn Heights at the Detroit border. Good job, you guys. We come up here time and time again, bitching about all the speeding and all the burnouts going through the neighborhood. And now something's finally been done. Thank you. We appreciate it. You guys did a great job, and I hope you catch the other ones. Second off, Mr. Baydoun.
Okay.
Northeast corner of Warren Avenue. The mattress is still sitting there. And the sad part is this mattress has been sitting here 2 weeks. There's 4 different businesses in that little strip mall. It is unbelievable that nobody in those businesses would remove that mattress or call DPW, call ordinance, or call a trash company to pick up that mattress. Northeast corner of Warren and Inkster.
Yeah.
Been there for 2.
We saw her and I when we rode our bikes.
We
That's where I
went-
rode my bike.
Second off,
Angela Venegas.
the sidewalk, Riverside for the kids by Hines Park. Winter's coming. Nobody shovels the sidewalk for those kids. We need to get a plan of action order and the grass needs to be cut again. Please, we need to do something for the kids. Their safety is at stake here. We need to do something. We need to find out who's responsible because I'm hearing Wayne County for the road and Dearborn Heights is responsible for the sidewalk. This issue's been going on for far too many years with me in that area and nothing's being done. Somebody needs to do something.
Hold that right there. Look. I know we have I'm supposed to be meeting with our DPW director on Friday. One of the things that I'm gonna tell them is that we are already paying this company to cut these little small spots for us across the entire city. What's it gonna cost us? $200 to keep this safe for our residents for the entire year? What are they gonna do? They're gonna cut it 4 times, 5 times throughout the year? Why don't we just have them go out and cut it and add it to the bill? So that way we're no longer saying, well, the county did it, and he did it. And then you know what? Let's just reach out to the county and say, let's split it. You don't have the answer. We don't have the answer. Everybody's pointing fingers. It costs us $500, $600 extra for the year. And it's knowing that that's going to be the reason, to potentially save a life, make things easy and make our city look great.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of cleaning up after it.
And
I'm
also,
tired of blowing it after. Whoever cutting is doing a really bad job.
so I don't know if you
You've
guys
seen
know this,
pictures.
but Angela actually walks there once a week, or rides her bike there, takes her car, parks it down the street, gets her lawnmower, cuts it, cleans it, edges
I don't
it,
cut.
bags.
I don't cut it. Somebody's been cutting it. I've been
Oh, you did
blowing
a-
it and picking up all the trash.
Yeah, she bags it up and she takes the trash with the resident also named Peter. They take all the trash, they put it in their car and they dump it themselves. And she doesn't just do it there. She does it all across the city.
Guys have to take responsibility. We live here. This is your home. This is where your kids go to school. It represents every one of us. If you got a resident who's older and needs help, give them a hand. Thanks, you guys. And thanks again, police department. Great job. Love you.
Thank you.
Rosemary's coming.
20, we're gonna start calling them 24 years.
No, the Rosemary.
Are you doing Mr. 24 years?
Good
Please
evening.
state your name, the city you
Yes,
reside.
I've been coming to the city council actually since.
Please state your name, the city you reside.
Zohair
and the street that
Abdelha,
you live on.
354 Rosemary, Dearborn Heights. I have a couple things to talk about. Water bills. I paid $823. I never paid this much in my life, 33 years in the city. Lots of people got yellow notes on their doors saying you use too much water. Lots of people reached to me and stopped me on the street in my neighborhood, and they are complaining about the high bill. The first thing is that the water department needs to be trained. They need, my understanding, Carrie left that department. She's working in the building department, and she is very qualified to train those people because she's been there for a long time. So I hope that the administration will give her some overtime or whatever, give her time to train the new people in the water department so the bills can go on time, because the bills people received, and that should have been done by the administration, that it was for 3.5 months, not for 2 months. That's why it is little high than usual. But it's still very, very high when I see estimated for 2 years. That means we don't have people going and checking the meters. They just estimated. In one time they go and hit you with $1,000, $1,500, and you may not be able to pay it. So we have to send the bills every 2 months, and we have to at least every 6 months to actually read the meters so nobody is hit with very high bill. The last thing I want to say just to my friend Roger, I filed a petition to recall the mayor based on hiring 2 directors to the police department based on violation to Act 79, which was adopted in 1963 by 16,000 to 7,000 by the residents of the city. And the numbers are there, the polls and the numbers in each poll with the names, everything is there. And I have certified copy from our clerk that it was passed and it was adopted. And Mr. Shank himself and his partner stood in front of the election commission and in front the judge, and they stated which part of Act 78 Mr. Mayor Bazzi violated. So they admitted that there is Act 78. So please, with all my respect to you, do not repeat that. And I understand they didn't file it with the state, but the people of the city of Dearborn Heights voted 16,000 to 7,000. Keep that in mind. Thank you.
Council Chairman, I respond to that, and I trust Mr. Abdul-Haq, and I like Mr. Abdul-Haq tremendously. But the vote, yes, there was a vote. It was passed, but as we did in 2007, when Ms. Yaki had to correct a vote that was passed, but it was not certified by the Attorney General's office. If it's not certified, it's not legal. However, we've included Act 78, not Act 79, in our contracts afterwards. However, the ratification was not properly certified. And a clerk from 2023, 2024 cannot certify an election from 1964, 60 years earlier. So I did check with the Attorney General's office, and we did check with the registry for the state of Michigan, and there's no record of it being recorded properly there, as far as I found from my research.
Thank you so much. I want you to know that the honorable clerk that certified this from 23-24 has actually been with the clerk or with our city for the last 10 years and been with our school department for, I think, 10 years before that, and has been publicly serving for a little over 25 years. And we probably voted in on that. I'm just kidding. Probably didn't put that. But, the same way you want to say that the clerk from 2022 or 2023, 2024 cannot say that it's been, or can't certify it. The Corporation Council from 2023, 2024 also should not be the reason to say that it's not certified. So until you can give me an opinion letter I didn't interrupt you, but until you can give me an opinion letter from an attorney general to say this is not okay, please don't give me an opinion on it anymore. That's all. Go ahead, sir. Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on.
Vince Trapkowski, Columbia Street. I just want to give a shout out to one of our businesses that's been in the city for many, many years. That's Cordy's Collision.
Yes.
My wife had a small hard yard thing, made of metal. The only place I could think of was taking it to, since they work on cars, was Cordy's. But anyway, they did a great job. I just want to give them a shout out. Yeah, my wife was very happy with the progress that came out of her little project there. So shout out to them for helping us out, and thanks for getting us out of here before midnight.
Anyone else in the audience? Seeing none. Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, yes, one more.
How you doing? There is a meeting today.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
This gentleman was told today from somebody at City Hall that there wasn't a council meeting.
Oh my God, it's so false.
Probably just a mistake.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, my name is Ron Frenzy, live on Fairwood Street here in Dearborn Heights. And I felt really, really bad. I think it was last meeting or the meeting before with Miss King, who's been coming here for like, I guess, near 3 years to have some crossing areas improved. And I guess a very little or not much has been done. So one thing that could be done, very inexpensive, is put up more crossing signs, crossing guard signs. Those are the signs that are in neon, and they have usually an adult with 1 or 2 kids holding their hands, and they're five-sided shape. Some schools have them, but some schools don't have enough. Say like Crestwood High School. Crestwood High School is in the middle of a block. So and Beach goes north-south, so there should be 1 in the north, 1 in the south. So you need 2 for Crestwood. Then you have schools like St. Linus or Highview that are on a corner. Well, if you have a corner, you have 2 that should be north-south, 2 that should be east-west. So when you meet with your DPW people, they could put up more signs. It's very inexpensive, very easy to do, no razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Anyone else in the audience? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn, not observe. Motion to adjourn by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by?
Me.
Seconded by Councilman Saab.
All in favor?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Aye. The ayes have it, motion carries.